Darius Cole had known many strange mornings in his 33 years of life, but nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared him for the sight that greeted him when he opened his eyes. There, standing barefoot on the worn rug of his tiny Southwark flat, was a woman. A white woman, tall, poised, breathtakingly composed despite the absurdity of the situation. A woman who looked shockingly out of place in a flat like his. A woman wearing his shirt. His bare chest tightened as his eyes adjusted to the early winter light leaking through the curtains. The shirt hung loose on her, the hem brushing the tops of her thighs. The sleeves rolled twice over her slender wrists. And though the shirt swallowed her figure, nothing could hide the unmistakable aura she carried. Elegance, authority, power. She looked like she belonged in a penthouse, not in a cramped kitchen he used as his lounge, dining space, and part-time office. And then she spoke. Calmly, confidently, as if this were completely normal. "Darius, we need to talk." He froze. Not because she was in his home, not because she was in his shirt, but because she had just said his name with a familiarity that didn't match the confusion pounding through his skull. He swallowed. "I'm sorry. What are you doing here? And why are you wearing that?" She didn't flinch. If anything, her chin lifted, eyes steady and unshakable. "Because you saved my life last night." His breath stalled. Her voice carried no hesitation, but the statement made absolutely no sense. Darius couldn't remember saving anyone, let alone a woman who looked like she stepped out of a Fortune 500 magazine. She exhaled softly. "Darius, you pulled me out of a burning car." A burning? No. He would have remembered that, wouldn't he? He sat up slowly, his mind turning, trying to grasp fragments of memory. He remembered walking home after his late shift at the security company. The cold wind, the quiet streets, the sound of screeching tires. His pulse jumped. She stepped closer. "Darius Cole," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You saved me, Alara Voss." His eyes widened. Alara Voss, CEO of Voss Tech Industries, one of the most powerful tech conglomerates in the UK. A woman whose face dominated business magazines. A woman said to be worth over £400 million. A woman no one could approach without a dozen layers of security. And now she was in his shirt, in his flat, telling him he saved her life. He tried to speak, but his voice abandoned him. Her expression softened, the first crack in her usually guarded facade. "You dragged me out before the engine exploded. You fainted after. The paramedics said you took in too much smoke." Darius rubbed his forehead, finally understanding the ache pulsing behind his eyes. Her gaze lowered, her fingers brushing the hem of his shirt. "My clothes were destroyed, so your daughter lent me this." His heart jolted. "Eliana, she's awake. Down the hall. She insisted on making breakfast for us." Of course she did. His 7-year-old daughter loved feeding strangers, stray cats, and sometimes even clouds if she could reach them. But the reality was still overwhelming. A billionaire CEO was wearing his shirt. A billionaire CEO was in his house. A billionaire CEO was thanking him. And then she said the sentence that would change everything. "Darius, what I tell you next might put you in danger." Memory returned in flashes, like jagged pieces of a shattered mirror. Darius had been walking home from the night shift at Greywall Security, the company that paid him just enough to survive but not enough to breathe. His black jacket was zipped to his chin against the cold London drizzle. As usual, he checked his phone for the time, nearly midnight. He walked past the deserted street near the underpass. That was when he heard it. Screeching tires. A scream. Metal folding like paper. He sprinted before thinking. The car had smashed into a barrier, flames licking the bonnet. The driver's door was jammed. He saw a woman inside, coughing violently, glass everywhere. He remembered forcing the door open, the heat burning his hands. He remembered unbuckling her seatbelt as she slipped into unconsciousness. He remembered dragging her onto the pavement. And then, nothing, just darkness, until waking up in his flat with a billionaire in his shirt. But what she said next was even more unnerving. Alara stood rigidly, her hands clasped in front of her, trying and failing to hide the tremor running through her fingers. Darius, that crash wasn't an accident. He blinked. What do you mean? Her eyes flicked toward the hallway, ensuring Eliana wasn't listening. Someone tampered with my brakes. My car was sabotaged. Her voice dropped, and I wasn't supposed to survive. A cold chill crawled up his spine. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Someone inside my company is trying to take me out, before I can uncover what they've been doing. Darius stared, refusing to believe he'd been dragged into some corporate espionage nightmare. Why tell me all this? He asked. Because, she whispered, the moment people find out I'm alive, whoever tried to kill me may try again. And since you saved me, her eyes locked with his. You're now a loose end. His stomach dropped. He had bills, a daughter, a life built on fragile stability. He didn't have room to be anyone's target. But Alara wasn't finished. I need your help, Darius. And I can protect you. But only if you trust me. He let out a shaky breath. Why me? I'm just a security officer. Her lips curved, not in amusement, but respect. You ran into a burning car to save a stranger. That alone makes you more trustworthy than half the board members I've promoted. He didn't respond, because part of him was terrified. And another part, a quieter, stubborn part, was intrigued by this woman who looked impossibly powerful yet painfully human in his oversized shirt. Before he could form an answer, tiny footsteps approached. Eliana peeked around the doorway, curls bouncing. Daddy? She whispered loudly. The lady doesn't like tea. She likes coffee. Extra strong. Can I make it? Alara let out a soft laugh. Only if your father says it's okay. Darius ran a hand down his face. Of all mornings, Eliana, go sit, he murmured. I'll make breakfast. She skipped back to the kitchen, humming. Alara followed slowly, leaning on the counter as he cracked eggs into a pan. Her eyes wandered around his small flat, the mismatched furniture, the colorful drawings taped to the walls, the tiny dining table only big enough for 2.5 places. It's cozy, she said gently. He shot her a wry look. That's a nice way of saying small. No, she corrected, eyes softening. It feels lived in. Safe. He swallowed. She'd probably lived in penthouses with marble floors. He lived in a place where he could hear the neighbors' arguments through the wall. 2 different worlds. And yet she stood there like she belonged. Almost. He plated the food and they sat. Alara thanked Eliana with warmth that surprised him. She cut her toast neatly, like a woman trained at corporate lunches and billionaire tables. Halfway through breakfast, Eliana leaned forward. Are you my daddy's friend? Darius coughed. Alara smiled, a hint of warmth slipping through her usual composure. I hope so. Eliana nodded approvingly. He doesn't have many friends. Eliana. The child shrugged. Well, you don't. Alara tried not to laugh. And in that moment, brief, soft, Darius saw something in her eyes he hadn't expected. Loneliness. Despite her billions. Despite her power. Despite the world knowing her name. She looked more alone than anyone he had ever met. Just as breakfast ended, someone knocked sharply on the door. Darius stiffened. That's odd, he murmured. I wasn't expecting anyone. Alara's expression shifted instantly, calm replaced by alarm. Darius, she whispered. Do not open that door. He frowned. Why? She swallowed. Because I didn't come here in secret. Someone followed me. The knock grew harder. Eliana shrank behind her father. Darius moved them both behind him, instincts flaring from years of security training. Who is it? He called. A smooth voice answered. Maintenance. Boiler inspection. His blood ran cold. His boiler had been checked just last week. He turned his head slightly. Alara shook hers violently. He mouthed silently. Are they here for you? She nodded once. Another knock. Louder. Sir, open the door. It's mandatory. Darius didn't move. He glanced at the window. 2-story drop. Not safe. No escape through the kitchen. Only the front door. He whispered. Alara, bathroom. Now, take Eliana. But, go. Something in his voice left no room for argument. He waited until they slipped away, then walked toward the door. He unlocked it halfway, just enough to speak, not enough to allow entry. A tall man in a reflective vest stood outside. Except something was wrong. His boots were too new, his hands too clean, and his eyes, sharp, calculating, were nothing like a maintenance worker. We're doing an emergency inspection, the man said. Open up. Darius forced a calm he didn't feel. ID? The man smiled thinly. Don't play games. Darius's muscles tensed. Behind the man, he noticed a black car parked silently at the curb, engine on. 2 silhouettes inside. His gut twisted. He closed the door slowly, locking it before the man could react. From outside, a cold voice hissed. Wrong choice. Darius turned and ran. Alara, he whispered harshly. They're trying to force the door move. The sound of heavy boots echoed outside. The handle shook violently. Eliana clung to Alara's leg, fear written all over her face. Darius scanned the flat. No exits. No escape route. Unless he rushed to the bedroom window and yanked it open. We're jumping, he said. Alara stared. Darius, it's a full story. I'll go first and catch you. Do you trust me? Her eyes flashed. You saved my life once. I doubt you'll drop me now. He didn't let the warmth of that comment settle. He climbed out, dropped down, landing with a grunt. His knees stung, but he stayed upright. Alara. Pass her first. She gently lowered Eliana. Darius caught her safely and set her aside. Then Alara climbed onto the ledge, hesitating for half a second. Jump, he urged. She pushed off. He caught her barely, but enough. The door upstairs exploded open. Male voices shouted. Darius grabbed their hands. Run! They ran through the alley, breath white in the cold air. The black car screeched as men poured out, chasing them. Darius led them through twisting side streets. He knew the area better than anyone. They ducked into a narrow walkway behind a row of shops, then into a crowded Saturday market. The crowd swallowed them. The pursuers lost their trail. Darius placed a shaking hand on his daughter's shoulder. You okay, baby? She nodded bravely, though her lip trembled. Alara leaned against a wall, chest rising fast. Darius, she said hoarsely, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to involve you in this. He looked at her sharply. Too late. Their eyes locked. For a moment, the chaos around them faded. He saw fear in her, not for herself but for them, and that told him more than any explanation. He exhaled deeply. Alara, he said quietly, if someone inside your company wants you dead, where's the safest place to go? She hesitated. Nowhere that they can track me. Then we're not going anywhere near your world, he said firmly. You're staying with me, hidden, until we figure this out. She blinked. But you barely know me. He shrugged. Yeah, but I know you didn't deserve to die last night. That's enough. Alara stared at him, longer than necessary, then nodded. They returned to the flat through the back streets. The intruders were gone. The door was damaged but unopened. Once inside, Alara sank onto the sofa, staring at her hands. In less than 24 hours, she had lost her car, nearly died, been hunted, taken refuge in the home of a man she barely knew. And yet, it felt strangely safer here than in her mansion filled with cameras and staff. Darius set tea in front of her. You need rest, he said softly. She ran her fingers along the rim of the mug. Darius, my entire board believes I'm the invincible one, the unstoppable CEO, the woman who never sleeps. Her voice cracked. But right now I feel like I'm standing on broken glass. He sat across from her. Everyone breaks, he said. Even billionaires. Her lips twitched. I'm starting to see that. He leaned back, studying her. So, you said someone inside your company wants you dead. Who? She inhaled sharply. Someone at the top. Someone with access. Someone who knows my movements. He frowned. Any suspects? Yes, she whispered. Too many. She turned toward him, determination returning to her posture. Darius, I need access to my encrypted files. Documents I've been gathering for months. Evidence of embezzlement so deep it could collapse half the tech sector. He blinked. And you kept this secret? Yes. If I exposed it the wrong way, thousands of people would lose their jobs. I needed proof. And now someone wants you gone before you can reveal it. She nodded slowly. I have a meeting scheduled in 3 days with the Metropolitan Financial Crimes Unit. If I don't show up, the case dies. So we have 3 days to survive. Her eyes met his. And 3 days to expose whoever is trying to kill me. He exhaled sharply. Damn. She looked at him carefully. Darius, if you help me, you put yourself and your daughter at risk. He looked toward Eliana, coloring quietly at the table, then back at Alara. Risk is my whole life, he said. But nobody, them or anyone, hurts my kid. She swallowed hard. And you? He smiled faintly. I've already been in too deep since the moment you put on my shirt. Her face warmed with something that looked dangerously close to gratitude, or longing, but she hid it quickly. We should plan, she murmured. We should survive first, he replied. The sun had barely begun rising over South London when Alara pulled her knees to her chest on Darius's sofa, staring blankly at the tiny flickering lamp in the corner. She looked nothing like the woman who commanded boardrooms with a glance. Here, in this cramped living room, she was stripped down to raw nerve and survival instinct. Darius watched her from the kitchen doorway. She was trying desperately to hide the tremor running through her hands. He recognized that look. He'd seen it on veterans returning from deployment, on fathers burying their sons, on mothers clutching police reports. It was the look of someone who knew they were being hunted. He stepped forward slowly. You didn't sleep. I couldn't, she murmured. He nodded. Me neither. Her gaze lifted, sharp despite the exhaustion. Darius, whoever ordered that attack will be looking for me right now. They'll sweep the hospitals, the crash site, any property linked to me. Darius crossed his arms. They'll never think to look for you in a council flat with a single dad. A dry laugh escaped her. Unfortunately, that might be true. He crouched beside the sofa, lowering his voice. Alara, whoever they are, they want you gone before that meeting in 3 days. That means they'll get desperate. She nodded once. I know. Then we need to stay ahead of them. Her jaw tightened. Darius, we're not dealing with thugs. These are people with money, power, connections. The kind who can erase a person and call it a clerical mistake. He held her gaze. Let them try. Her breath hitched. For the first time, someone wasn't telling her to run, or hide, or resign, or negotiate. For the first time, someone was standing with her. While Eliana played with crayons at the table, Darius turned on his old laptop. The screen flickered but eventually cooperated. Alara pulled up next to him. I can't access my files remotely, she said. They're stored offline. Physically. Where? In a vault inside my office tower. He blinked. You mean your enemy's headquarters? Yes. Darius exhaled slowly. So the only way to get proof is to walk right into the building where someone tried to kill you. Correct. He leaned back. Well, that's terrible. Her lips twitched. Indeed. We'll need a plan, he said. We'll need a miracle, she replied. Eliana looked up. Daddy, what's a miracle? Darius managed a weak smile. A very big favor from the universe, baby. Oh, she resumed coloring. Then you'll be okay. You saved a lady already. Alara's heart squeezed in her chest. Darius didn't let his softness show for long. He stood, pacing. We need information, and backup, and maybe a way to know who's after you. Alara hesitated. There's one person, she whispered, but he's dangerous, unpredictable. Darius turned. Name: Raphael Mercer. The name meant nothing to Darius, but the way she said it made his pulse quicken. He used to be head of cybersecurity at Vostek. Brilliant, loyal. She swallowed. Until he wasn't. What happened? He disappeared last year. Vanished after a disagreement with the board. But he left breadcrumbs. Messages only I could decode. And you think he knows who wants you dead? I think, she said slowly. He might be the only person who can help us trace them. Darius rubbed his jaw. So where is he? She met his gaze. No one knows. Fantastic, he muttered. But, she continued softly, I know where he might resurface. He's been tracking me, sending encrypted warnings. He will reach out again. Darius frowned. Why you? Her eyes softened. Because he said I was the last person inside Vostek he trusted. Darius froze. Trusted. The word hit him harder than he expected. Harder than it should. But he let it pass. All right, he said. Then until he contacts you, we'll stay quiet. Hidden. We can't stay hidden for long, she warned. He nodded. But we can hide long enough to find him. By afternoon, clouds settled low over the city, a gray blanket threatening rain. Alara sat at the kitchen table as Darius cooked noodles for Eliana. The warm smell of soy sauce filled the flat. She found herself watching him, his broad shoulders moving as he stirred the pot, the gentle rhythm of his hands as he made sure Eliana's bowl cooled first. His presence filled the room without trying. He was nothing like the corporate men she knew. He wasn't polished or wealthy or rehearsed. He was solid, safe, real, too real. Her thoughts were interrupted when he turned. You okay? She straightened. Yes. He studied her. You're lying. Her breath caught. No one had said that to her before. No one ever dared. She pushed her hair behind her ear. It's just strange. Being here. Being alive. I'm expected at an investor dinner tonight. My assistant probably thinks I'm dead. Darius set the bowl in front of Eliana. I'll call your assistant. Tell her you're alive. Alara tensed instantly. Absolutely not. Why? Because, she whispered, I don't know who I can trust. Not even her. Darius's expression hardened. Then you trust me. Her heart fluttered. Dangerously. She looked away. I do, she said quietly. Too much already. The room thickened with tension. Darius opened his mouth, but before he could respond, someone knocked softly on the door. Both froze. This knock wasn't like the first one. It was gentle, almost polite. Then a voice called, Mr. Cole? This is Officer Wilder with the Met Police. We'd like a word. Alara paled. Darius's blood ran cold. Eliana, he whispered. Bedroom. Now. She obeyed instantly. Alara whispered back, It might actually be the police. It might not, Darius countered. He approached the door silently, peered through the peephole. 2 officers, uniformed, real badges, real radios, but the unease in his gut didn't fade. He cracked the door open 2 inches. Yes, the male officer stepped forward. Mr. Cole, we're following up on an incident involving a vehicle fire last night. Your name was mentioned. Darius kept his expression neutral. Okay, and? Witnesses said you were seen pulling someone from the vehicle, the officer explained. We'd like to confirm a few details for our report. Darius's heart pounded. Behind him, Alara's breath hitched. He opened the door wider, blocking the view of his living room. I don't remember much, Darius said slowly. But yeah, I helped. The officer nodded, scribbling in a notebook. Do you know the victim? No. Did she speak when you pulled her out? No. Did she identify herself? No. The male officer closed his book. The female officer tilted her head. One more question, Mr. Cole. Darius forced a calm expression. Yes. Her eyes flicked past him before returning to his. Did anyone follow you home last night? His pulse hammered, but he didn't blink. No. Understood. If you remember anything else, contact us. They handed him a card and walked away. He locked the door immediately. Alara stepped out from behind the wall, shaking. Darius, those were real officers. Yes, but they were asking too many questions, she whispered. Yes, her voice trembled. You think they were watching your reactions? I think someone told them to check if you survived. Her eyes widened. Then they know, she whispered. They know I'm alive. Darius moved toward her, grabbing her shoulders. Alara, we need to disappear again. Tonight. Her voice broke. Disappear where? He looked around his tiny flat and made a decision that surprised even himself. To the last place anyone will think to look. By nightfall, London had transformed into a maze of wet lights and honking traffic. Darius carried a duffel bag. Eliana held her stuffed rabbit, and Alara walked between them, hood pulled low. They boarded a bus heading east, far from the city center. Alara whispered, Where are we going? Darius didn't answer until they were off the bus and walking through a dim alley between old warehouses. To someone who owes me a favor. Who? My cousin, he said. He works off the grid, fixes cars, sells parts. No paperwork, no questions. Alara frowned. Sounds illegal. It is, Darius replied simply. But safe. Alara didn't argue. They approached a metal door covered in graffiti. Darius knocked 3 times. After a moment, a muscular black man with thick braids opened the door. He blinked. Damn, D. You look like hell. Darius forced a grin. Good to see you too, Cade. Cade looked at Alara, then at Eliana, then at the duffel. You in trouble? He asked. Yes, Darius said. Cade stepped aside. Get in. The warehouse smelled of motor oil and burnt rubber. Cars in various stages of disassembly filled the space. Alara whispered, "This is unexpected." Darius smirked faintly. "Not all family are doctors and lawyers." Cade crossed his arms. "So, who's trying to kill you?" Alara stiffened. Darius replied, "Her enemies." Cade raised a brow. "And who is she?" Alara swallowed. "Alara Voss." Cade froze. Then he let out a long whistle. "You brought a billionaire fugitive into my garage?" Alara winced. "I'm not a fugitive. Yet," Cade said. Darius shot him a glare. Cade sighed. "Fine, I'll help. But the moment bullets start flying, I'm out." "Fair." Alara whispered, "Thank you." Cade shrugged. "Don't thank me. Thank him." He tilted his chin toward Darius. "No one else could get me to stick my neck out like this." Alara glanced at Darius, her eyes lingering longer than necessary. She whispered, "He has that effect." Darius pretended not to hear. As Cade set up cots in an unused storage room, Alara sat with Darius at an old workbench. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked a small device hidden beneath her bracelet. A sleek, black encrypted pager. Darius blinked. "What is that?" "A direct line," she whispered. "Raphael Mercer built it for me. One-way messages. Untraceable." Darius leaned closer. "And?" Alara took a sharp breath. The device buzzed. A new message. Her hand shook as she opened it. "They know you survived. They're hunting you. Don't trust anyone inside Vostek. Meet me tomorrow. Midnight. Location to follow." Darius stared at her. "Looks like your guy found us." Alara's voice trembled. "He always does." Darius studied her face. "Do you trust him?" She hesitated. "I trust him more than anyone else. Except you." The room fell still. Darius's chest tightened with a feeling he didn't want to name. "Then we meet him," he said. "And we end this." She nodded. But then the pager buzzed again. One more message. This one colder. Sharper. Her face drained of color. "What?" Darius asked. She turned the device so he could read it. "They want the man who saved you too. He's now a target." Darius stared. Frozen. Alara whispered, voice cracking, "Darius, you're in this because of me. And if anything happens to you," her voice broke, "I'll never forgive myself." He took her wrist gently, grounding her. "You're not losing me," he said quietly. "Not now." Her breath hitched. For the first time, she leaned into him. Just slightly, just enough for him to feel the warmth of her skin, the tremble of her breath. And in that stolen moment, surrounded by rusted tools and oil-stained floors, they stopped being a billionaire and a security guard. They became two people, scared, hunted, bound by danger, but not alone. Darius barely slept. He sat on a crate with his eyes on the door, listening to every shift of wind, every creak in the metal walls. At dawn, he heard soft footsteps. Alara stood there, wrapped in a blanket Cade had given her. Her hair was messy, her posture fragile. She looked a human. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked. "Not a chance," he replied. She hesitated before stepping closer. "Darius, last night I realized something." He raised a brow. "What?" She swallowed. "You saved me from that crash. But now—" She met his eyes. "I think you might be the one person keeping me alive." His chest tightened. He didn't answer, because part of him knew she was right, and that terrified him more than any gun, any threat, any enemy. Before he could speak, the warehouse door burst open. Cade sprinted inside. "Darius, Alara. Someone's at the front gate." "Who?" Darius demanded. Cade panted, voice shaking. A man in a black coat. Says he's here for you. Alara's blood turned to ice. Raphael, she whispered. Darius squared his shoulders. Then let's finally meet the man who knows why someone wants you dead. The room held its breath. Asha stared at him, her expression unreadable, her fingers gently tightening around the fabric of his shirt that draped over her body like something intimate, something forbidden, something that was never supposed to happen between a billionaire CEO and a South London single father she'd only met the day before. Kwame waited. Asha inhaled slowly, then opened her mouth. But before she could speak, the door downstairs rattled. A fast, urgent knock. Both of them froze. Asha's head snapped toward the bedroom exit. Kwame's heart kicked up with a jolt. Another knock, louder this time. Kwame, you home, bruv? Kwame instantly recognized the voice. His cousin, Roderick, the only blood relative he still kept in close contact with, and the one man who absolutely could not find Asha Hale, the infamous CEO, wearing his shirt in his bedroom at 7 a.m. Kwame whispered harshly, "Stay here, don't move," and slipped out before she could reply. But Asha didn't listen. Of course she didn't. She padded barefoot behind him, silently descending the stairs like some pale, spectral elegance wrapped in cotton. Her presence seemed to pull shadows with her, commanding even silence to obey. Kwame reached the front door and cracked it open. Roderick stepped inside without waiting for permission. He was built like a bear, broad shoulders under a worn denim jacket, beard untrimmed, eyes sharp with street-level awareness. He looked around, suspicious. "What's going on? I tried calling you. You didn't pick up." Kwame forced a smile. "Battery died." Roderick snorted. "You always used that excuse in school." But then his eyes narrowed. Not because he'd spotted Asha, but because he'd heard the faintest footstep on the stairs behind Kwame. "Who's that?" Kwame moved slightly, blocking the view. "Just someone who needed help last night." "Help," Roderick repeated. Then he shoved his head to the side to look past Kwame. And there she was. Asha Hale, wearing nothing but a man's shirt, standing at the bottom step with the morning light illuminating her silhouette like a portrait. Her hair was messy, cheeks flushed, eyes too intelligent and too awake for a woman who supposedly should have been unconscious hours ago. Roderick's jaw dropped. Bro, is that?" Kwame snapped. "Say one more word, and I'll ban you from my house." Asha stepped forward, calm as calm could be. "Hello," she said politely, extending a hand as if she were greeting someone at a board meeting and not half-dressed in a stranger's home. "I'm Asha Hale." Roderick stared at her hand as though it might explode. "Hale?" he repeated. "As in Hale Tech? As in multi-billion?" Kwame cut him sharply. "She already knows who she is." "Stop." But Asha tilted her head. "Actually, it's fine. I owe your cousin my life." Roderick blinked. "My cousin saved your?" He looked at Kwame with an expression that said, "We need TO talk. Now." And then, his phone buzzed violently. He lifted it, glanced at the screen, and his expression changed to stone. "Kwame, there's trouble." Kwame stiffened. "What kind?" "A woman from the neighborhood filmed you last night running out the alley with Asha in your arms, and posted it." Kwame froze. Asha's eyes widened. Roderick continued, voice sinking lower. "It's gone viral." Kwame's pulse slammed against his throat. And Roderick wasn't done. "It's already on Twitter and TikTok." The caption says, "CEO Asha Hale found unconscious with mystery man in South London alley." "Kidnapped?" Asha inhaled sharply. "Kidnapped?" Kwame's stomach dropped. They're saying I kidnapped you? Roderick nodded grimly. And her security team is apparently going crazy looking for her. Reporters are outside her penthouse. Her PR team is losing their minds. Asha's voice dropped to something quiet, something dangerous. Tell me exactly what the video shows. Only you unconscious, Roderick told her. And him carrying you. Does look dramatic, I guess. Kwame felt sick. Asha's mind was already working at lightning speed, calculating, assessing, strategizing. Her eyes locked onto Kwame, not with fear, not with accusation, but with something like responsibility. This is my fault, she murmured. Then louder, if my security team believes you abducted me, the police will be looking for you next. Kwame felt the weight of those words like bricks on his chest. Roderick added, and there's more. Your landlord saw the video. He left you a voicemail. He's threatening to kick you out if high-profile drama brings trouble to his property. Kwame closed his eyes. This couldn't be happening. All because he tried to help a stranger. Asha stepped forward, her tone shifting to command mode. The CEO, the woman who wasn't used to losing. Kwame, she said, lifting her chin. I'm going to fix this. He stared at her, uncertain, shocked, overwhelmed. Fix it? How? He whispered. Asha breathed deeply. Then she said the words that made Kwame's entire body freeze. I'm going to tell the world that I spent the night here willingly. Roderick choked. Wait, what? Kwame's eyes widened. Asha, that'll ruin your reputation. Asha's jaw tightened. It'll ruin yours if I don't. The room dropped into heavy silence. Then she continued, a dangerous fire flickering behind her eyes. And I will never let a man who saved my life be destroyed because of me. Kwame blinked. Roderick swallowed hard. Asha turned, heading toward the stairs. First, she said, I need proper clothes. Your shirt is comfortable. But I doubt the public is ready for this level of brand confusion. Kwame felt a dizzy laugh threaten to escape him. Only Asha Hale could make a joke in a moment like this. She climbed the stairs with determination, the kind that said she was about to wage war on the entire media machine. Roderick leaned close to Kwame and whispered, Bruv, you are in so much trouble. But also, what the actual hell did you just pull? Kwame whispered back, I didn't pull anything. I just saved her. Roderick shook his head. Well, the universe just saved you a whole plot twist. Asha climbed the staircase with slow, steady breaths. But inside her mind, gears were turning at 1,000 miles per hour. She reached Kwame's room and shut the door, leaning her head against it. Her heart thudded, not out of fear of the media storm, but because she had woken up in a man's shirt, a stranger's shirt, a warm, clean-smelling shirt that carried hints of sandalwood, laundry powder, and something uniquely him. And she remembered parts of last night now. Not everything, not clearly, but enough. The alley, the dizziness, the men behind her, hands grabbing her, a van door sliding open, a cloth pressed over her mouth. She remembered resisting. She remembered fighting. Then, she remembered collapsing into strong arms. Kwame's arms. Her throat tightened. Someone had tried to take her. Someone had planned it. She pulled the shirt tighter around herself. Whoever drugged her wasn't random. This was targeted, organized, professional. And now Kwame was caught in the middle. Because of her, she forced herself to move. Kwame had laid out clean clothes on the chair beside the bed before he left the room earlier. An oversized hoodie, leggings from a laundry basket, and even a pair of socks he hadn't worn yet. That small gesture tightened something in her chest. She got dressed quickly. But as she tied her hair into a loose ponytail, she caught her reflection in the mirror. Her eyes, they were different, harder, focused. The attack had changed something. And now the world would know she wasn't in her penthouse, wasn't in her office, wasn't at Hailtech headquarters. She was in the home of a single father in South London. This could destroy reputations, cause scandals, spark rumors that would take years to clean up. But Kwame was innocent, and she would not let him suffer. So she lifted her chin and walked downstairs. The living room, pressure mounts. Kwame and Roderick were whispering furiously near the window when Asha entered. Both men turned. Kwame's breath caught in his throat. Asha looked normal, human, almost fragile, though she carried herself like carved steel. "Okay," she said. "We need to move fast." Roderick muttered under his breath. "She's really about to do so. Damage control from your couch, fam." Kwame shot him a look. Asha crossed to Kwame. "Do you have a functioning laptop?" Kwame blinked. "Yes, but why do you need?" "For the statement." Kwame stiffened. "You're really doing this?" Asha looked him dead in the eyes. "You saved my life. The least I can do is save your reputation." Roderick exhaled in disbelief. Kwame swallowed. "Okay, laptop is in my room. I'll get it." But as he turned, Asha grabbed his wrist gently. "Kwame." He paused. She opened her mouth again, and this time, she said the words she had been trying to say before the knock interrupted them earlier. "I remember your voice." Kwame felt his stomach flip. Asha continued, softer, slower. "When I was fading, when I couldn't stand, I remember hearing you say, 'I've got you,' and it made me feel safe. Safer than I've felt in a long, long time." Kwame's chest tightened painfully. Roderick looked between them like he was watching a romantic drama unfold against his will. Asha released Kwame's wrist. "Now," she said, stepping back into CEO mode. "Where's the laptop?" He nodded, throat thick, and hurried upstairs. When he was gone, Roderick crossed his arms and faced Asha. "You know this is going to blow up the internet, right?" Asha replied without hesitation. "Then let it blow." Roderick stared. This woman wasn't just confident. She was dangerous, and for the first time he understood why the world feared her. Kwame returned with the laptop and placed it on the coffee table. Asha sat down. The moment her fingers touched the keyboard, her entire energy shifted. Her spine straightened, her shoulders squared, and her eyes sharpened into something predatory. She wasn't just Asha Hale. She was the woman who ran Hailtech, a machine worth billions, a corporation that could buy cities, a titan who had clawed her way to the top without mercy. And now she was writing a statement to protect a man who lived in a two-bedroom terrace house. Kwame watched her type with surgical precision. Roderick whispered, "This woman is mad, in a good way but still mad." Asha ignored him. After 20 intense minutes, she stopped typing and turned the screen toward them. Kwame read the statement aloud. "Yesterday evening, I was the victim of a targeted kidnapping attempt. I lost consciousness due to an unknown substance administered by the attackers. I was rescued by a citizen, Mr. Kwame Thompson, who intervened and ensured my safety at great personal risk. Any suggestion that I was taken against my will by Mr. Thompson is false. He acted with integrity and without hesitation when I needed help. I am asking the public to refrain from speculation as the authorities continue their investigation." Kwame stared at the screen, stunned. "Asha, this will put you at the center of a scandal. It'll drag your name through the mud." She met his gaze steadily. "Then we'll be muddy together." Kwame's breath caught. Roderick muttered, I'm actually witnessing a billionaire flirt. Mad. Asha hit post. And the world exploded. Instantly, notification pings lit up the laptop. Emails flooded her inbox. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Helteka's official account reposted her message. Major news outlets quoted it within minutes. But the chaos wasn't what shook Kwame. It was the sudden, massive shift in public opinion. Hero saves CEO. Unarmed man rescues Asha Hale from kidnappers. Who is Kwame Thompson? South London single dad praised as savior. Kwame felt like the ground was tilting beneath him. He wasn't used to attention. He wasn't used to praise. He definitely wasn't used to trending on social media. He sank into a chair, overwhelmed. Asha looked at him gently. Are you okay? He shook his head. This is insane. Asha's eyes softened. Welcome to my life. Roderick chuckled. Fam, your phone is blowing up too. You've got like 50 missed calls. Kwame groaned. I don't want any of this. Asha touched his knee lightly. Her voice dropped to a whisper meant only for him. But you have me now. Kwame froze. Roderick's eyebrows shot up. Okay. I'm gonna go stand in the hallway or something. But just before he could walk off, a loud noise blasted from outside. A car screeching. A door slamming. Footsteps pounding toward the house. Kwame tensed. Asha's eyes sharpened. Roderick moved toward the window to peer out. Then he cursed. Heads up, he said, voice low. Your front garden is full of people. Reporters. Kwame whispered. Roderick shook his head. No. He swallowed hard. It's her security team. Asha stood slowly. Kwame's pulse spiked. Roderick backed away from the window. Heavy knocks thundered against the door. A deep male voice boomed. Ms. Hale, step back from the door. We're coming in. Kwame looked at Asha. Asha looked at the door. The handle twisted. A shadow moved just beneath the frame. And then, the door burst open. The front door smashed open with such force that it banged against the wall, shaking the entire house. Kwame instinctively stepped in front of Asha, his arm out as if he could shield her from a team of trained professionals. 3 men stormed in first, tall, muscular, dressed in black tactical gear with earpieces flashing blue. Behind them came a woman, stern-faced, sharp-eyed, with a jaw that looked carved from stone. She was the one who spoke first. Ms. Hale, step away from him. Asha didn't move. Kwame didn't breathe. Roderick whispered, Oh, hell no, but stayed out of the line of fire. The lead woman's cold gaze snapped to Kwame. You. Hands where we can see them. Kwame lifted his hands slowly, fear knotting deep in his stomach. The last 24 hours had already turned his life upside down. But this was different. These people weren't guessing. They weren't speculating. They had already decided he was a threat. One of the men moved quickly, stepping toward him. But Asha stepped forward and snapped. Touch him, and you're fired. The room froze. The guard halted instantly mid-step. The woman's eyes widened only slightly, just enough to show she was rattled. Ms. Hale, you were missing for 17 hours, she said carefully. Your trackers were disabled. Your phone was found smashed 2 streets away. You were unconscious in an alley and last seen in the arms of an unknown man. He's not unknown, Asha cut in sharply. He saved my life. The woman clenched her jaw. That remains to be verified. Asha stepped into her personal space, inches away, her voice dropping to a quiet, lethal calm Kwame hadn't heard before. Verifying? Is that what you call pointing weapons at innocent people? The woman held her ground but faltered. We followed protocol. Protocol? Asha repeated softly. Interesting. She turned slightly, eyes gleaming with dangerous clarity. Because if you had actually followed protocol, you would have found me last night. The woman's breath shook. Kwame realized something then. Asha wasn't just angry. She felt betrayed. But the guards were still tense, still blocking exits, still ready to drag Kwame out if Asha gave the wrong signal. He felt his heartbeat thudding behind his ribs. Asha, he whispered. It's okay. She turned slowly toward him. No, she said, voice firm. It isn't. His breath caught. Because her eyes were blazing, not with corporate fire, but with something fiercely protective. Then she spoke again, loudly, clearly. Everyone stand down. He stays with me. The team hesitated. All of them, except the lead woman who folded her arms. That decision isn't yours alone anymore, Ms. Hale. Asha's entire expression sharpened into cold steel. Excuse me? The woman didn't blink. Haleteka's board has declared a Tier 1 risk incident. Under that protocol, you are not currently allowed to make security decisions until your medical condition is assessed. Kwame saw it hit Asha like a punch. She, a billionaire CEO, was being told she wasn't in control. Asha exhaled, slow and lethal. Ah, she said softly. So the board thinks I'm compromised. She stepped closer. So tell me, Miss Stone, is that your personal belief too? That I'm unfit to make my own choices? So that was her name. The woman's jaw ticked. Protocol is protocol. Asha smiled a terrifying smile. One that icy corporate sharks would run from. You know what I think, Miss Stone? She leaned in closer. I think protocol is a convenient shield people hide behind when they're afraid of accountability. The room tensed. Miss Stone inhaled, steadying herself. I'm taking you home, she said finally. Now. And him? Asha asked quietly. Miss Stone hesitated too long. Kwame's heart pounded. Then she said, he will be questioned. Asha's eyes went nuclear. Kwame stepped forward quickly. It's fine, he said, though his voice wavered. If they need to ask me questions, I'll answer. But Asha grabbed his wrist. Firmly. No. Kwame froze. Asha faced Miss Stone. He doesn't leave this house with you. Miss Stone's brows lowered. Ms. Hale. No, Asha repeated. If anyone takes him, they take me too. That sentence sliced through the air. Roderick exhaled a whispered, Jesus. The guards exchanged glances. Ms. Stone stared at Asha long enough that the silence became suffocating. Then softly, she said, why are you protecting him? Asha didn't flinch. Because he protected me. Miss Stone looked between them, suspicion narrowing her eyes. Kwame felt suddenly exposed. Not physically, emotionally. Like this stranger could see something blooming between them that neither he nor Asha had dared to acknowledge. Miss Stone folded her arms again. If he's innocent, he will be cleared. But right now, a CEO of your magnitude cannot remain in an unsecured location. You're at risk. This neighborhood is at risk. I'm aware, Asha said. Ms. Stone stepped closer. Ms. Hale, someone targeted you. Someone wanted you taken. If they track your location here, if they realize you're in this house, you put him in danger. You put his child in danger. You know that, don't you? Kwame felt the blood drain from his face. Asha went still. Amari, his son. His 10-year-old son who was currently at school. The fear hit Kwame hard and fast. He stepped forward urgently. Asha, if they come for you again, if they follow you, my boy. She turned toward him immediately. Her face softened with an intensity he didn't expect. I won't let anything happen to him, she said quietly. But Kwame shook his head. You can't promise that. Silence. Heavy silence. Ms. Stone stepped between them. I'm taking Ms. Hale home, she said firmly. Medical team on standby. Police arriving there shortly. She will be safe. But then she turned to Kwame. And you're coming with us. Asha grabbed Kwame's hand tightly. No, she repeated. Ms. Stone sighed, rubbing her forehead. Ms. Hale, if you refuse to cooperate, this becomes a federal obstruction issue. And then, before she could finish, Kwame gently squeezed Asha's hand. Asha, she looked at him. You have to go, he said softly. She shook her head once, fiercely. He swallowed hard. I want you safe, he said. But if the people who attacked you are looking for where you ended up, this place isn't safe for you. Or for my son. Her expression cracked. Just barely. But she understood. Her fingers slowly loosened around his. He eased her hand away. I'll answer their questions, he said. I'll clear my name. I'll be fine. Asha's voice dropped to a near whisper. Will you? Kwame nodded. But it was a lie. He felt it. She saw it. Everyone in the room felt the tremor behind his calm. Miss Stone stepped aside. Ms. Hale, the car is outside. Asha didn't move. She was staring at Kwame like she was memorizing him. Every line of his face, every detail, every breath. Kwame, she whispered. He swallowed. Go, he murmured. Please. Asha's chest rose with a deep, shaking breath. Then she turned, but at the doorway she paused, looking back at him one last time. I'll come back for you, she said softly. Kwame's heart stopped. Roderick's eyebrows shot up. Even Ms. Stone hesitated. But Asha didn't clarify, didn't explain. She just stepped into the sunlight. And the door closed behind her. The house fell silent. Kwame exhaled shakily. Miss Stone turned back to him. Mr. Thompson, she said formally. You're coming with us. Kwame nodded slowly. But he had one question, one he didn't dare ask until now. Miss Stone, he whispered. Do you know who tried to take her? She studied him for a long moment. Then, very quietly, she said, That's what worries me. Kwame blinked. Why? Miss Stone's voice dropped to a whisper. Because whoever it was had inside help. Kwame's blood ran cold. Inside Hiltech? Inside her own company? The room tilted. And then, before he could process the fear, before he could understand the storm he'd been pulled into, Miss Stone added one final sentence. A sentence that changed everything. We believe the person who planned the kidnapping is someone Asha knows. Kwame stood frozen, Miss Stone's final words ringing in his ears like the toll of a distant funeral bell. Someone Asha knows. His stomach twisted. How is that possible? He whispered. Miss Stone didn't answer. She didn't have to. The truth was already spreading through him like ice water. Asha hadn't just been attacked. She had been hunted. By someone close. Someone trusted. And somehow, he had been dragged into the center of it. Let's go, Miss Stone said curtly. We don't have much time. Two agents moved to flank him. Kwame raised his hands again and allowed them to escort him outside. His mind still reeling. The sunlight felt too bright. The street too quiet. The air too thin. A sleek black SUV waited at the curb. In the distance, Asha sat in another car. Tinted windows, security flanking every side. Staring straight ahead, but her posture rigid. Her hands were clasped in her lap, knuckles white, jaw trembling just slightly. She wasn't calm. She was terrified. Not for herself. For him. Their eyes met through the tinted glass. Faint, blurred, but unmistakable. And in that silent moment, something passed between them. Promise. A plea. A connection neither of them fully understood yet. Then the car pulled away, and Kwame was taken in the opposite direction. The interrogation. They didn't take him to a police station. They took him to a private compound, Hailteka's off-books emergency facility. Underground. Sealed. Sterile. A room with no windows. A metal table. One chair. Miss Stone didn't sit. She paced. "You understand why we must question you thoroughly," she said, her tone all steel again. "You are the last civilian seen with Ms. Hale before the attack." "I saved her life," Kwame said tiredly. "Yes," Miss Stone replied, "which is the only reason you're not handcuffed right now." A beat of silence. Then she slid a tablet onto the table. On the screen was a map, the alley where Asha was found unconscious. Kwame flinched. Stone tapped the image. Her trackers didn't just fail. They were removed. "I didn't touch her trackers." "We know," Stone said. "But someone did." She leaned forward, her cold eyes pinning him. "And that someone knew exactly where she was, because they detonated a signal jammer 2 blocks from the incident." Kwame's breath caught. I don't know anything about that." Miss Stone studied him, and for the first time her expression softened, just barely. "I believe you." Kwame blinked. "You do?" "Yes," she said quietly. "Because if you were involved, you wouldn't have risked your life to carry her out while bleeding." He swallowed hard, relief loosening something tight in his chest. But the relief didn't last. Stone's next words were a scalpel. "But the person who is involved has access to her security routes, her meeting schedules, her biotechnology, her emergency overrides." Kwame felt his skin prickle. "So you think someone inside Hailtech tried to kidnap her?" Stone nodded once. "Yes." "And you think—" Kwame's voice cracked. "You think they'll come after her again?" Miss Stone inhaled slowly. "Mr. Thompson, the attempt last night wasn't their endgame." A chill spread through him. "What does that mean?" "It means they wanted her alive." Kwame froze. "Alive? For what?" Before he could ask, a buzzer sounded overhead. Miss Stone pressed a hand to her earpiece. A pause. Her posture stiffened. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Say that again." Kwame waited, tension strangling him. Miss Stone's eyes snapped to him. Her face, always cold, suddenly turned pale. She ended the call abruptly. "What happened?" Kwame asked, voice tight. Miss Stone didn't answer right away. She walked to the door, opened it, then turned back to him with a look he had never seen in her eyes. Fear. "Mr. Thompson," she said quietly, "Asha Hale just disappeared from medical custody." Kwame's heart stopped. "What do you mean disappeared?" "You had a full team with her." "We did," Stone said, breathing hard. "And every single one of them is unconscious." His pulse thundered. No, that's impossible." "Someone infiltrated the convoy," Stone said sharply. "A professional. They cut camera feeds, jammed comms, blocked GPS. 2-minute window. Clean. Precise." Kwame staggered backward, gripping the table. "Asha." Miss Stone stepped toward him. "We're initiating a city-wide lockdown. You cannot leave this facility." Kwame shot her a look of pure desperation. "I'm not staying here while she's out there." "You have no choice," Stone snapped. Kwame slammed his fist on the table. "You said the attackers had inside help. What if that person planned this too? What if they used your protocols to get to her again? What if—" "Mr. Thompson, stop," she said sharply. "We will handle this." Kwame shook his head violently. "No, you don't understand." His voice cracked. She said she would come back for me. Miss Stone froze. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across her face. Then slowly, she said, maybe that's exactly why they took her. Kwame felt the edges of his world begin to crumble. Someone took Asha. Someone who knew Hailtech from the inside. Someone who knew her routes, her weaknesses, her guards, her emergency procedures. Someone who knew who she cared about. And worst of all, someone who now knew he mattered to her. The realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. They're using her, Kwame whispered. His eyes widened with dread. They're using her to get to me. Miss Stone inhaled sharply, because the truth hit her at the same time. They hadn't attacked Hailtech as CEO at random. They had attacked the woman who had just formed the first real attachment of her life outside her corporate world. They wanted leverage. Kwame Thompson was that leverage. And now, Asha Hale was gone. Miss Stone reached for the intercom. Lock down all exits, she ordered. Activate Level Black Protocol. And find her. Find her now. Guards scattered. Sirens blared. The underground facility shifted into full emergency mode. But Kwame didn't hear any of it. He was staring at the sealed door, at the life outside it, at the danger creeping closer. Miss Stone placed a hand on his shoulder, something she had never done to anyone. We will bring her back, she said quietly. Kwame didn't look at her. He whispered only one thing. They took the wrong woman. Then he straightened his shoulders, and the fear in his eyes hardened into something fierce, determined, unbreakable. He wasn't going to wait. He wasn't going to hide. He wasn't going to let them hurt her. He was going to get her back, no matter what. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't just save a life. Sometimes it starts a war. And this one had only just begun.